Well, hello, Survivor fans. You are in for a treat because today's Beyond the Torch, this is our very first guest from season 1 of Survivor Borneo. It's Sean Kenniff.
Hey,
Welcome,
Pam, how are
Sean.
ya? Great to see you guys.
Great to see you.
So good to
Thanks
see
for
you. This is
having me. I
very
can't believe
exciting.
anybody wants to talk to me still after what I did out there.
Oh, please. This is going to be so much fun. And I think that's when I think about you, Sean, I think about fun because that's
Yeah,
kind of what your whole MO is like, I'm just here having fun. Like I'm building a bowling alley and a super pole and
that's
I'm
exactly right. I
voting in
mean, a lot of
alphabetical
people,
order.
that's right. I did a lot of numbskull like things out there, but a lot of people have to understand it was the very first vacation I ever took in my life. My dad was a New York City firefighter, fought fires in the Bronx, doesn't pay a lot of money, doesn't leave a lot of money to go to on trips to foreign lands. So the first time I was ever on a plane, I was just out there. I had done nothing but educate myself all those years. I was just out there to have some fun and cause some
I
trouble.
love
That's
it.
about it. Yeah.
Well, you did a good job doing that.
I
So,
agree. And honestly, this is like such an incredible and surreal moment for me because I've been a super fan since day one. I was 15 when I watched
Wow.
you play the game of Survivor.
Wow.
And I mean, granted, that was a long time ago, but it is just so cool to have you here. So thank you for joining us.
yes,
Well,
thank
I can't believe
you.
I'm talking to you guys. Thank you for having
I
me.
know
I
we're
really
legendary,
appreciate it.
right?
Yeah,
Just
well,
kidding.
listen,
It's a joke.
you guys are doing more than most of us. I'm just
Aw,
living my
thanks.
life over here. I'm not doing anything much anymore, TV wise
In
or film
Paris.
wise. So
I can't wait to hear all about your life. Before we get started, though, Sean, and you're going to love this. We always let a fan be a part of the show. We have this little segment called "The Fans Have Spoken," and they leave little 90-second at the most voicemails on our voicemail, which is available. Guys, if you're interested in being a part of the show, we would love to hear what Survivor has done for you, why you love the show so much, how it's changed your life, whatever, why you hate it. I mean, whatever it is, we want to hear, although we may not play it if you hate it because we love it anyway. Today we are going to hear, guys, from Jody Bergman. So let's go, Jody.
Todd Leslie, thank you so much for this amazing show. I love it so much. I wanted to share one of my first Survivor memories. Survivor Australian Outback. I'm 7 years old when that was on the air, and I love watching it with my family every single week. And I just remember being so mad at my parents when they sent us out of the room when Mike killed the pig, and there was that parental advisory. And then again, sending us out of the room a few episodes later when he fell in the fire. Just didn't know what happened in this incredible gripping show, and I was hooked from then on. Since I watched every season from 2 until somewhere in the late 30s and came back for Winners of War. So I do love the old school Survivor, and it was especially important for me in the last year. In 2025, I had my second child, and I spent many late nights with him trying to get him to sleep. And I watched old school Survivor, my favorite seasons. China was definitely on that list. I loved Todd, Courtney, and Amanda so much because I was 14 when your season aired, and China has and always will be one of my favorite seasons. Such a dynamic class, such an amazing setting, and it's just such a joy listening to the two of you talk with all of these largely old school players week after week.
Jody, thank you so much for calling. That's amazing. Can you imagine being a young
No.
kid and watching with your parents? How fun is that?
I think that if I were watching with my parents and they kicked me out and I came back and I missed a huge chunk of whatever just happened, I would probably lose my mind. But it is kind of cool if she went back later in her life and rewatched to figure out what it was that her parents sent her away for.
Yeah.
Oh, that's funny.
No, it's crazy to know that. Like as reality TV, like you're invested in people, like they're invested in your life and vice versa. How symbiotic it is. That it's nice to hear.
Yeah, so cool. I love hearing from the fans. It's so fun. So, hey guys, listen, if you're listening and you haven't left a voicemail yet, please do so. The link is right there in all of our social medias. If you go to our Instagram, it's right there in all the, links that we have up there. And also, I believe there's a link under the YouTube and also the reality after show page somewhere. So, but if you can't find it, just send us an email at beyondthetorch@gmail.com and I'll send you the link and you can get us a voicemail.
Absolutely.
So fun. But let's get back to you, Mr. Sean. This is
Yes.
such an exciting moment for us because like we haven't talked to anybody from season 1 who like literally you didn't even know what the heck you were getting into. Sean, how did you even find out about Survivor?
Yeah, so that's a long and probably pretty boring story, but I was working. Well, let me backtrack. So I don't have any idea why you get these little bugs in your bum about what you want to do in life. But when I was in medical school, while other people, I always loved neurology, but when other people were saying I want to be an orthopedic surgeon or I want to be an ER doctor, I would always say I just want to be one of those doctors on TV, where the doctors talk like Dr.
Yeah.
Joe Smith in Minneapolis or what. And I didn't have any. My dad's a Bronx firefighter. I didn't have any means of getting there. I didn't know anybody in TV, but I actually pitched an idea called MDTV back in 1995 to Nina Justman, who was the head of MTV News over there. I was going to talk about teen pregnancy. I was going to talk about ecstasy, cutting, anything that's germane to the 12 to 24-year-old generation, which is the people.
What
who
a
watch
great
TV
idea.
at the time.
Wow, that's a
Right, so
great
I
idea.
pitched it to, well, it seems like a great idea, right? So they actually hooked me up with a bunch of production people, the same production company that was doing Cindy Crawford's House of Style at the time. I have a very funny fame story. They came to my apartment and they're like, all right, Sean, listen, we're trying to get everything together for a pilot. And producer goes, listen, we might want to send you out to Beach House MTV. What do you look like with your shirt off? And his name was Rob. I don't want to out him, right? And I take my shirt. It's in my New York City apartment. I take my shirt off, and he goes, Sean, you hamburger eating disaster. So then I had to go on a diet and stuff. But then the show never aired. So we never got to shoot a pilot because they aired a show very similar to ours called, I don't want to say they stole it or anything, because nothing is new under the sun, but it was called Megadose Television. It was hosted by Kobe Jones, the soccer player. And it didn't fly. So it didn't fly with Kobe Jones, who was ostensibly a way younger, better looking, hipper kid than I was. It wasn't going to work with me. It turns out that no one wants to sit through, when you talk about health shows, nobody wants to sit through colon cancer, breast cancer, rheumatoid arthritis, just to hear something about low back pain. Talk about a downer, it has to be entertaining. And it wouldn't have flown for that generation. I knew that now, but thank God it didn't work out, because had it worked out, it would never have gotten on Survivor. So they wanted everyone to be TV naive. So, but that's the backdrop. They always want to do medical television, and I'll swing back to that about accomplishing your dreams and everything. But I didn't really have a venue of going there. So I was working as a doctor, and this is now a year later or so, a year and a half later, and no more than that. So I was in the middle of my residency training. Oh no, I was in my first year of my I'd finished training and everything was done. So I was taking care of this very sick patient, and she was always she was a nun, and she was always doing nice things for people. So someone needed their car paid off, or someone needed their house paid off, and she had a big hemorrhage in her brain, which is why I was taking care of her. And so I held her hand. It's like 3 a.m. in the morning or 2 a.m. in the morning. I'm holding her hand, and I said her name. I was like, listen, give me a sign. What should I be doing? Because my medical career is going this way. Anything I want to do with TV is going that way. 2 trains going at equal speeds in opposite directions. What do I do? And she died that night. So I was like, well, if I'm not going to take a sign, if I ask from a child of God and I ask for a sign and then I get the sign, I should take it. So I gave notice that morning at my job. I had no backup plan. I gave 2.5 months notice because the Jewish holidays were coming up. My partners were Jewish. And so I gave 2.5 months notice to get them through the holiday season. I had no backup plan. I figured I was going to do Doctors Without Borders or something interesting with my life. Because like I said, I'd never done anything interesting. So I called my buddy, John, who was a neurosurgeon at the University of Pennsylvania at the time. And his dad's a postman. My dad's a fireman with 2 blue collar kids who traded loan money to get through medical school. It's like, you effing what? I was like, I quit my job. I was like, all right, come on down to Philly. Let's talk about it. Jumped on the train. And on my way to the train, I picked up a Time magazine and I ran right to the beer car and was drinking a beer on the way down. There was an article in that Time magazine that said the exact title is "A Star is Borneo," that they were looking for 16 ordinary Americans to try out for a new show called Survivor. You'll be stranded on a deserted island. I read the whole thing. I ripped it out, stuffed in my back pocket, and truthfully, 3 beers later, I forgot all about it until I'm out with John at some happy hour later on, and we're all drinking and partying, figuring out I'm scheming my life. I was like, what are you going to do with your life? I was like, and then I felt something in my back pocket, probably reached for my wallet or something. I felt, I was like, oh, look, maybe I'll try out for this thing. He's like, if you get on that show, I'm going to throw you the biggest going away party. And, interview after interview. That's how I got on the show. Just pure circumstances. I live. You ever seen the movie Slumdog Millionaire, where things just happen by haphazard? That has been my life, the story of my life. So that's kind of how it happened. Had I not seen that article, had I not picked up Time, had I picked up People magazine instead of Time magazine, had I been late for the train, I would never have seen it.
That's
That is
amazing.
crazy.
Yeah.
What
Okay.
was
First of all, the
casting like?
nun.
I know,
The
right? The
nun.
nun.
So that's
I
crazy.
still
Okay,
talk
yeah.
to her when I'm in a time in trouble. Like I still talk to her. I still say, "Hey, I don't want to out her name, patient confidentiality, even though that predates HIPAA." But like, I still every now and then address her in my prayers, like, "Hey, give me a sign," or what have you. Yeah.
Wow. Honestly, that to me is really, really cool.
That is so
Um,
cool.
Like,
Crazy.
yeah.
But that's
All
how
right.
it was
Give
like.
you a
How'd you
sign.
do it? Like I was, I have this backdrop of wanting to do medical television. Like I never dreamed about being Brad Pitt, running, jumping over cars, in the stairwells like this and shooting the bad guy and getting the girl at the end. Like that was never my dream. I just want to be one of those dorky doctors on TV, be giving advice like Sanjay Gupta or something. That's all I want. That again, it predates Sanjay also, but like, that's all I wanted to do was just do medical advice on TV.
That's
What
crazy.
was it like as far like how did you apply and what was it like? What was casting like? Because I know it
Yeah.
had to be
Well,
very different.
everything was based very, very basic. So this is 1999. The internet was pretty much brand new. Everything was like bulletin boards. Like if you can imagine when we were on Survivor, there was no internet really. It was like bulletin
Yeah,
boards.
I
And people would go
remember.
there and leave comments on bulletin boards. There was nothing, internet bulletin boards, but there was no like internet like we know it today.
Yeah.
So you had to download and print a handwritten thing, which I did by hand. This is before cell phones or anything, so you had to send in a videotape too. And when it comes like this is one thing that I want, because out there people are going to wonder like, how do you accomplish your dreams, or want always like to leave people I interact with something positive, not only about my life but about their life, leave people feeling better. And the number one thing in life of getting what you want is don't weed yourself out. Like don't, like we all have this natural tendency to not do the things that might be very good for us, right? Because like, oh, people are gonna laugh at me, especially me as a doctor. I just gave notice at my job. I was wondering, like, oh, everyone's gonna laugh. Like everyone's like, what is he doing as a dream job? What is he doing? Like, why after all those years of schooling, what the F is he doing? um so like, but have the guts to do it. And then like when I saw this Fiverr thing, I waited and I waited and I waited and I downloaded the application. I wrote it all out. It helped to be funny. Like I remember one of the questions was, if you could hold any political job in the world, what would it be? And I wrote first lady. You get a big house, you don't really have a job. It seems like a pretty sweet thing to me. Like, so I thought it was kind of funny on there. I was truthful but funny on there. And then when it comes to shooting the videotape, I waited and waited and waited because phones weren't invented yet.
It was
And
hard to
neither
do
were
back then.
VHS.
Yes.
Right. And again, this is where Slumdog Millionaire happenstance kind of happens for me, because I'm sitting there. I got these giant insects. I put them in my bathtub and taped to the wall of my shower in my New York City apartment. And I had never been anywhere in my life. So that's kind of what I said. Like, listen, between college, medical school, and residency, I'd never traveled outside New York State borders, let alone going around. The only time that I'd ever gone in a tent was basically a ruse to get unsuspecting girls into tents. Like, that's all that it was. Like camping was just a big ruse to date. That's all.
It's all about girls.
Right.
Yes.
Right. So that's what it was back then. And like, so I'd never done anything like outdoorsy at all, but I put myself through a special training program. And that's when it cuts to my bathtub with these big giant insects and a monkey hanging from the shower curtain and everything. And I was trying to say, so I was trying to hit the button, right? Then come on. I had no way to edit this on a VHS tape. Hit the button,
Yeah.
climb into the shower, hit the button, climb out. When my friend Denise called me, she's still one of my dearest friends. She's also a doctor. Wanted to check on me to see if I was still mentally okay after leaving my neurology job, So she's like, what are you doing? And I just started laughing. She's like, what are you doing? I was like, I told her a little, so I was like, I'm trying to film something. Can you, would you come over? So I'll be right there. So she dropped everything, came over, and she shot my thing for me, made it a lot easier for me in the tub. Had she not called it that moment, who knows? Anything could have gone wrong. But another thing, she just called it the right moment. I was sitting there trying to click the button, then run back to the tub and then click the button, Yeah, she did the rest of the whole interview for me. But again, I almost didn't send that in because I was worried, like, oh, people are gonna laugh at me. Here I'm a doctor. Like people are gonna
They're gonna think
ill of
this
me
or
or think
that.
lower of me. And and again, it turned out to be one of the best things of my life. So when it comes to whatever you have in mind for your life, whatever trajectory you want to put yourself on, whatever you do, there's gonna be enough obstacles being thrown in your way. Do not erect your own obstacles.
Ooh.
I love that.
I memean, that'll preach. I mean, if we were in
Yeah.
a church, but
That's
yeah, I mean,
true.
it's so true. I think we get in our heads. We're like, oh, it's stupid, or I'm done. I think that first instinct is always the one you want to listen to, not the one that comes in after you start overthinking it. You know what I mean?
It's so true because I always tell people that we are our own worst enemy, and we're
100%.
also our own worst critics. Everybody has something about themselves that they're unhappy with, or they wish they could change or be different with, but we're the only ones standing in our way. So I think what
Right.
you're saying is perfect. I mean,
No, and
people ask me all the
just gotta
time.
hammer through it. Just do it. And no one's really watching. It's the whole dancing, white guy dancing at a wedding analogy, right? Like I can't dance at all. I dance at weddings, and the important thing is like you're there to celebrate, like dance. No one's really watching. We're also egocentric that you think people are really watching, and no one really cares. No one really listen. I know that was on TV. I know that millions and millions of people were watching, but no one's really watching my life other than me. You know, like so just have your fun, do your things, and move on. Just don't hurt anybody. Be a good person.
So good. That is
Heard.
so good. Thank you for that.
Heard. So who called you? Was Lynn Spillman the one who called you?
Yeah. Yeah. Was she still with you guys
Amazing.
when you guys were in China? Wasn't she
Yes.
And he actually
She found
had
both
that
of
on our
us.
That was great.
podcast.
Yeah.
Like,
So yeah,
so
Lynn,
we were-
I don't know who called me. I think it was Lynn. Well, you know, I mean, so you get the first call. So you don't know what to
Yes.
expect at all. And I get the first call, and it was to come to CBS Broadcast Center in New York City, which, you know, I was living there at the time, so it wasn't a big deal. So I'm one of like, what is it? I think 80 people at 16 places were interviewed or something like that.
Yep.
Made the first
The
cut. So I think it
semifinals.
was 80 people at 16 different sites across the country. I think that was the number. And so I'm in the final 80 for the New York area. And so I go in there and I'm sitting in the waiting room, waiting with everybody else. And there's a doctor from Columbia University right across from me, sitting in the waiting room also. And she had gone down the Amazon, had solved like, you know, mud rivers fever or whatever, all these like esoteric diseases. And we're talking about it. She seemed very nice. I'm like, there's no effing way I'm getting on this show. Like, I just left my job. Like I've done nothing. I'm a brand new attending, a brand new neurologist. I've done nothing with my life. And they have this lady who's like curing polio left and right in her sleep. And, you know, and so, but the thing is, you know, you didn't know what to expect. So then they call you in, they put you on the video there, your initial videotape for CBS. And apparently Jay Beanstalk, I think, was there. He was one of our producers. And he had something nice to say to me. And so did the cameraman. And once you give me compliments, I'm like, I'm good. You know, then I'm shining. You know, once you get some air under my wings, I'm like, oh, this is going to be a breeze. And then the next thing you know, you get a call. It's like, hey, we want to invite you out to LA. So once you get to LA, this is when things get really cool. Once you get to LA, you're one of, I think, 80 left. So there's only 80 being considered left. And you look around and you're like, am I on the right show? Like, because you see, like, I don't mean to offend any dirtbags out there, but you see dirtbags, you see like weirdos, you see like all kinds of stuff. You're like, am I on the right show? Is I here?
Am I a dirtbag?
Right. Am I a dirtbag? Like, you know, so then you land, and it was at the DoubleTree in
Santa Monica.
Santa Monica.
In Santa Monica, DoubleTree in Santa Monica, right? So we're there, and you can't talk. We're given explicit instructions. You are not allowed to talk to anybody about anything. Only the producers. They will come up to you. You do not talk to anybody. When you check in, you do not talk to anybody. So you come in there. Now, listen, there were a lot of dirtbags, a lot of weirdos, but there was also some young, cute kids like Colleen and Jenna and Greg or whatever. You know, they're all there, and you couldn't talk to any. And Joel. Don't mean to leave Joel and Jervis out of this, right? But like the young, cute people are there, and you can't talk to anybody, you know, and it's like a loner convention. Like, I just feel bad for anyone else who came for like the cookies at the DoubleTree. They get in there, there's all these young people hanging out. It's like, why is no one talking? It's like, did I step into the Twilight Zone? Like, it's
Just staring at each other.
It is weird.
You know,
And it's funny because
question.
everybody is type A. Everybody's a type A personality, and we're all
everyone's
being
outgoing,
quiet.
and no one can talk to each other.
So I do have a question, because this is exactly what we did for China.
Exactly.
Did you guys have to sit at separate tables and eat meals together?
Yeah.
And not
and
talk,
there was a
Okay.
guy there. I'm telling you, he looked like an accountant. I called him mentally in my head an accountant. And because when I'm there, and I think I've told you this before, but I thought I was being, you know, they reversed cast. Like in retrospect, you know, I know why they did this show. They were looking why I got on the show. They were looking for a dorky yuppie who would be useless out in the jungle. Like that's and that's what they got with me. And that's fine. Like that's what they were looking for.
The self-awareness is through the roof.
Right. I thought I was supposed to be the young, cool, good-looking, young, hip doctor out there, be like that. That's what I thought I was gonna be, which was
You need
great.
to
It was
do a
great.
comedy routine about this, Sean. This would
Right.
be
Yes.
really fun to
No, but
attend.
I thought that's honestly just telling you honestly, that's what I thought I was going out there to be like the young, cool, hip doctor, solve everybody's problems and show the world. Like that's what it was. But you're there and you see other people who are like your prototypes in retrospect. Okay. At the time I didn't
Yes.
notice. But I was like, oh, I remember that guy who looked like an accountant. I kept calling accountant. He looked exactly like me. And like, I think
Yes.
that had I not been a doctor, I probably got his spot because I was a doctor or was maybe
Oh,
dorkier
wow.
or whatever. Like made me more marketable to them. But they were looking for like prototypes out there. So I happened to fit their prototype, which was like the dorky yuppie who might be book smart, but out in the jungle is going to be absolutely useless and it's going to be a foil and a bunch of other things. So I think that's
Can I
and they
ask
were
you a
looking,
question?
yeah.
I want to ask you a question real quick. So you're in your casting, did you tell them your strategy? Did they know when you went into this
With
that
the
you were going to do
alphabetical order?
alphabetical?
No, I developed that only after I saw them divide the teams. So when we talk about that, I'll tell you why. Because I took a lot of heat for a lot of years for that strategy, but it was very well thought out. And I really think the only reason it didn't work fully, because it got me right to the very end, was because I abandoned it. It really only the whole thing only
So you
capsized
stand by
once
it?
I abandoned it. Yeah, I still stand by it. It's very well thought out. But yeah, but we'll touch upon that when we get to the game. Because I do, and when they split the teams, and I realized, like, wait a minute, they're all at the front of the alphabet. My team's all at the back of the alphabet. That's kind of how I came up with this strategy. But yeah, but they were also looking for like a villain. So I remember we were all sitting at separate tables, and there's a guy next to me, tattoos all over, like all over piercings, tattoos, and he not only was rude to the waiter because the waiters were talking to us. Yeah, they come, but not talk, but come over. What do you want? You want bacon with your eggs or whatever?
Yeah.
But he was rude. He tipped the guy a penny, like on top, went digging through his pockets and left a penny. And I was tipping whatever. So that guy was obviously there to be the villain, right? So, and Richard outdid him to become the manipulative villain. They were looking for, to forgive my French, but a B word, they were looking for a bitch out there, which I
Yeah.
got with Susan, who was great, but they were
She's
looking for all
amazing.
these. Yeah, they were looking for all these archetypes out there, and I just
Of
happened to
course.
fit one. That's why when people say, "Hey, how'd you get on the show? What tips do you have for me?" If they're not looking for your archetype for your particular show, you're not going to get on.
Yeah.
They
Exactly.
have
True.
they have
true.
certain things in their mind that they're like, hey, we need a really good villain, or we need two villains, or we need what they have that in mind. And if you're not one to fit their bill, you're not going to get on. But if you be yourself and they're looking for you, like we've all struck it right on time, that they were looking for us at that time. Yeah.
Yeah. I was the Southern Christian mom.
Yeah,
They
that's
went
it.
with
It's the
that.
gay Mormon flight attendant.
Right. The
Yeah.
Gay Warren and the Southern Christian put together in
Perfect.
China, and that's
Perfect.
it. Yeah.
And let's
That's
put
how
them on the
watch the
same
magic
tribe.
happen. Yeah.
It's okay. So after you're at the finals with the final 80, did you go and do like interviews with, Mark Burnett and Les Moonves?
Yeah. So that was really cool. I mean, I think the fans out there would really want to know like what it's like. And there was some cool stuff. I'm sure it was the same for you guys. But this was the time where the Blair Witch movie was out, where it's like where the
Yes.
cameras were. I was like, oh, I'm scared. There's a witch. That whole thing was around. Had I
Yeah.
been smart enough to think about it, I would have done something with it, but I didn't. Okay. And they told me, the producers afterwards, that if you did anything that had to do with the Blair Witch thing, they just threw you right on the trash heap, right? Because they thought it was so uninspired. But I don't know if they did this to you, but Rudy, remember the Navy SEAL? So we still don't, we're still not talking to each other. And I think I think I have permission to talk about this. I mean, you sign your life away, but it's been 25 years for me, and I think it was only a 20-year
I think we're
contract.
good.
So you walk you're in they call you. You don't know when they're going to call you. Sitting in your hotel room, they call you. So I'm waiting outside this room, and then Rudy comes out, the Navy SEAL, just shaking his head like that, right? And he comes out and walks away. Then I go in the room next. So they have a chair. So I'm sitting like here. They put a chair down. There's a camera in front of me and a camera to the right of me. And behind me, like where the wall is behind me, is just Polaroid pictures of other people. I don't know if they were contestants. None of them really looked familiar to me. No one I saw in the hotel. Just Polaroid pictures of people. All maybe 100 of them taped to the wall
Wow.
over there, or tacked to the wall. And they give you an index card and they put it on your lap. And we go, okay, listen, there's 3 questions on this index card. We're going to turn the cameras on. We want you to be fully honest, so we're going to leave the room. Once we start the cameras, count yourself in for 5 seconds, flip the card over, answer the questions as fully as you possibly can, and you have 15 minutes or 10 minutes, whatever it was. If you have any time left over, entertain us in any way you want, right? So they leave, they hit the buttons, right? And they leave, and I'm sitting there holding my card. I count 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, whatever. I flip the card over, name, hometown, date of birth. That was the only 3 questions. So,
Oh no.
so then you have 15 minutes to entertain them, and you're sitting there like, all right, what am I going to do now? So I didn't, Blair Witch did not come to my mind, okay? But I did this, like, can you do me a favor? Did this look infected to you? And you tell them this whole story about how I chipped my tooth on something. I did the whole Jim Carrey talking butt thing for a little bit, probably a little bit longer than I should have, Then I did a little soap opera on the back with the people and who was hooking up with who and what and then their evil twin, as you know, they don't look a lot alike. Trust me, it's an evil twin. I did all that stuff back there. And then he came in the room. I was like, that was terrible. I don't know what that was about, but that was terrible. So it was all kind of like neat stuff like that, that they wanted to see who you were. And they put you through psychological testing. They put you through, what's it called? The Minnesota Multifaceted Personality Inventory, the MMPI, which is a real psychological test. Because if you're pretending to be a B or you pretend to be a villain, this would weed out who is who. This would weed out, are you empathic? Are you really a B? Are you really this? Are you really a jerk? Like, that's what it kind of determines your personality type. So the psychiatrists are looming about as you're doing all this. And I'm taking the questions, maybe 20 of us in the room or 15 of us. I forget how many. I don't know what stage this is. And there was a question like, do you consider yourself indecisive or what was the other one? Indecisive. What's the synonym for indecisive? It was like, do you consider yourself indecisive or can't make decisions or something like that, right? So I raised my hand and like, I'm having trouble with the indecisive and can't make decisions question. I was just like there to have fun. I just remember doing all this dumb stuff. And next thing you know, like I'm on a plane, and then my brother's a lawyer. So he's a new lawyer at the time. And they give you this huge contract when they want to sign
Huge contract.
Huge. Yeah. I mean, I signed it. I didn't read a little word of it. Honestly, they could be entitled right now to my 3 children. I have no idea. I just signed it. But my brother looked. I was like, Sean, you do not want to sign this at all. I was like, James, sign it, because they made your whole family sign it. Yeah. I was like, James, sign it. If you don't sign it, I'm not getting on this show. And he signed it ultimately. And obviously, next thing you know, I'm on a plane to Borneo. And then they send you home, and then I think Roz, one of the producers, Roz, called me. I think it was Roz. It might have been Jay Beanstalk. I'm not sure. But they called me and told me that I was on the show. So then next thing I packed your bags. You're on the way.
How after was it? Like, how long from casting?
About 3 or 4 weeks, like long enough to figure out, like, well, because like I told you, I'd left my job. I still was working. I had 2.5 months notice. So I was still I was probably towards the end of that. Maybe I was off at this time. Maybe I just gotten off from that 2.5. Like I was officially out of work, maybe. But I was starting to think, like, well, I better get my act together. I'm going to need to pay my bills at some point. It was like right around that time when they called.
Wow.
And so like just in the nick of time. And then next thing you know, I'm on a plane to Borneo. It's the second plane trip I ever took in my life.
Why?
Yeah, crazy.
That's
Crazy
wild.
times. Yeah.
Man.
Wow.
Yeah.
So, okay, let's talk about when you get there and you of course you're recognizing people that you were in casting with. Had you made any sort of eye-to-eye connections with anybody? Did you feel like, oh, I really want to work with this person?
Yeah, I mean, listen, I could not have hit this any better. I was 29 years old. I was a board certified neurologist, single doctor. I mean, I broke up with my girlfriend about 6 months before all this ever happened, so I was like 100% single. And so I get out there. Of course, the 2 who caught my eye were Jenna and Colleen, they were really cute. So I was like, they caught my eye. They're probably the only 2 that caught my eye, because I wasn't looking at anybody else. I was 29 and single. I mean, Todd, you know what it's like. It's like, you get single-minded about this kind of thing. Like, that's all. Those are the only 2 that I noticed till I got on the boat, pretty much. Yeah.
Wow.
Okay, so this is where it gets like so crazy for me, because there was no blueprint. There was no
you had no idea what to expect.
You know how to play the game. And so you went in with a strategy of your own. When did you decide this was happening?
Okay, so you spent what I don't know if your fans know this, but you spend a couple of days before you go out there, before they strand you. We had no idea because Mark Burnett, love him, he's amazing, but he was a former British paratrooper. So I thought for sure that we were going to be parachuting in to there because I did. Why would he not make us parachute? It doesn't make any sense.
Exactly.
You just open, jump out of the plane, and float down. So you get a couple of days out there well, first of all, they tell you to read on the plane over, to read the Army basic training manual on first aid and everything like that, and life saving. And I read it because I had nothing else to do on a plane. So I read the actual thing. And then we land over there and they give you a couple of lessons like what to eat, what not to eat, what the local customs are. You can't just go around killing people and cannibalizing them, like they go through all that kind of stuff, like don't eat this berry's fine. They give you pictures of them and stuff like that. So I paid attention for that. And then basically they get you all together and you're still not allowed to talk to each other. So you're all together, you're going through all this training together and you're not allowed to talk to each other. You can eye roll at each other like, oh, whatever, but you can't really talk. And then they put you on this junket and they sail you out in the middle of the South China Sea, probably for about 2 hours, 3 hours, straight out. And then they go, okay, now this is the scene that opened up survival. It's like, okay, everyone's gonna have to abandon ship now. We split into 2 teams. And when they split into 2 teams, I don't think it was exactly alphabetical order, okay, because I think 1 or 2, I think they switched. Ramona was on the other team. So that was the only aberration, was Ramona for somebody else on our team, I forget, and Sonia, I think, were switched. Okay, but other than that, everyone was in alphabetical order. The majority of the young people were all on the other team. The young, like, MTV crowd was on the other team, and I'm with all the oldies and the Richards and whatever, right, on the other team, right? And I love them. They're like sisters and brothers to me, but they're on the other team. And I was like, I want to be with the cool kids over there, I want to have fun.
I'm gonna sit at the cool table.
Yeah, so but they switched, like, Ramona over there. That was the only one that was at the back end of the alphabet that was on the other team. But I noticed right away, I noticed patterns for what, like, I don't have a lot of gifts to my brain, but if someone's like on a sitcom and they have the phone in the right hand and the very next cut it's in the left hand, like, I pick it up. Or if the door's open, then it's shut. Like, whatever, how my brain registers stuff, it registers those things. I don't have any gifts, but if I have a gift, that's what it is. And so I immediately noticed, like, wait, everyone's at the front of the alphabet. Rich, Rudy, Sue, and Kelly at the back end of the alphabet on my team, and I'm Sean. Whereas that whole team is Colleen, Gretchen, Greg, BB, whatever. They're all at the front end of the alphabet, So I noticed right away there was an alphabetical thing. It's like, well, if I vote alphabetically, I get to vote the whole of the team off before I have to vote my own team. And it keeps me politically neutral. This is after the merge, when the merge happens.
Yeah.
And at the
Can I
merge
ask a
point,
quick question? I want to
Yeah.
ask a question. Do you think that if they didn't realize that's what you were doing, you would have kept doing it? Because I feel like when they caught on, they were like, well, let's just vote for who he's voting for. We already know who he's going to vote for. So
Well, that
we've
was
got to
another
vote.
point, right? So if everyone, like, stacking votes is a very good strategy, right? You want to vote with a block
Yeah.
of people.
Right.
So I knew that if people knew my vote based on alphabetical order, if they know the alphabet, they would stack on me for security, right? Well, I know Sean's going to be voting for Todd because it's day T, and let me start stacking my vote on his, because every vote that stacks on mine would be one vote I'm not getting, right? So it makes sense mathematically from that end. And like I said, I didn't really do that. I didn't vote alphabetical order in the very beginning because I was doing this team-wise, it was
Right.
strategy.
Yeah.
In the early seasons, in original Survivor, there was a lot of physicality. So you had to keep your physical
Yes.
assets on. So I was voting strictly for team when we were teams. But after the merge, I knew that, like, they were all at the front of the alphabet. I'm at the back end of the alphabet. That's when the jury pool was selected. That's when alphabetical order would become important. And plus, I said, with this vote stacking, it would be an incentive for people, hey, to stack a vote. Like, think about it. If it was like Colleen, like, I know today's my day. If Colleen's not getting voted for, but she knows that I'm voting for Jenna, I said, well, let me stick it on Jenna because that's 2 votes. Even if I get 2 votes from the other team, at least I'm canceling out with 2 votes for Jen. You know what I mean? So
Right.
it was
Yeah.
so it made a lot of mathematical sense. It was widely ridiculed for decades until I think it was on Rob's podcast, Sister Nino's, or one of someone else, when I said I finally told that what it was about, like. And it made a lot of sense, and it got me as far. And I only abandoned it when it came down to Kelly, because Rich was very clear about it that if I voted for Kelly because it was Kelly's turn, then I'd be the first to go. And they had an alliance, you know, that it was going to be me
Yeah.
before Kelly. So the numbers didn't work out in my favor. So that's only when I abandoned it. When that happened, then, but had I stuck with it, maybe people would have jumped on Kelly, and maybe I'd, you know,
Yeah.
I would have won. Who knows? But
Who knows?
but that's kind of when I abandoned. Only, but that's when it broke down. But up until then, it was working pretty well, like a charm, you know.
Yeah,
But still,
I mean,
they ridicule
it was
they didn't understand
entertaining.
it. I get it. But the thing, getting to your question, is that I also realized early on that the producers are the other aspect of the show. Yes, you have the elements. Yes, you have the starvation. Yes, you have the gameplay. But the producers, like everything that you see in any reality TV show, all the drama comes from excellent producer prompting, right? So
Yeah.
they take you in the, they're like, hey, Leslie, why don't you come over in the bushes over here? Let's talk to you. And what's going on with you and Todd? You guys don't seem to be getting along, right? And you're thinking the whole time, like, me and Todd, we're like this. We're like super
No,
tight.
what do you mean?
And then you're like, wait a minute, does Todd not like me? Like, what, you know, like they say things to you that I knew that there were another element to the show. And I thought that if I told people, I just played it to them, and the conversations are the only thing that you see in the drama when they have your little, what are those called?
Confessional.
Confessionals, right?
Yeah.
The confessionals, like, those are the only things that the viewer sees. But had I said to Jay Beanstalk or Maria Bartiromo or Tom Shelley or any of the guys that were on the beach with me out there, the producers, if I said to any of them, oh, you know what, here's my deal. Like, not only does it keep me looking nice and playing nice with everybody, it's the name your mama gave it, makes me look politically neutral, I get to vote for the whole young, good-looking athletic team before I have to vote for my own evil alliance. Without a doubt, those guys would have went over to Colleen, Gretchen, Greg, or whatever. Like, so let me ask you about Sean's alphabetic. Is he just an idiot? Or do you think that your whole team comes at the front of the alphabet and his whole team is at the back end of the alphabet? Do you think he's being nice? Do you think he's being stupid, or do you think he's being strategic? And they would have been like, he's being strategic, that a-hole. I'm going to vote him off next vote, right? So that, that's why I didn't say it. And you know what? I had to bite the bullet on saying things that were, it was very well thought out. I was out there thinking strategically, and
Yeah.
I had to be the laughing stock survivor for 20 years. What's the difference? I don't care.
I feel like it's so easy to pick apart when you're watching, when you're viewing. But
Yeah.
again, like, you didn't have a game plan. You had nobody before you. There wasn't a book on
Right.
how to do this. And so,
Right.
like, the fact that that's the strategy that you came up with, to me,
Right.
makes sense. I
Yeah,
don't think
like,
it's
Anyone who knows me really well, like, knows, like, that's something Sean would do. Like, anyone who knows me
Like, it
really
makes
well,
sense.
it's something I do. I just do. If I can take an oblique angle onto something, that's what I'm taking, an oblique angle. Like, don't do it.
Well, and it makes it less personal, and it makes it
Right.
less like you're probably like a real good, sweet person who doesn't want to hurt somebody. And you're like,
I mean,
okay,
all
but I have to. So let's
All
do
that's
it in
true.
a strategic
All
way.
that's true. I am a nice person. It does keep it politically neutral, which was the main thing about voting alphabetically, right? Because
Right.
if I make it to the jury, who in the world is going to give a New York City neurologist $1 million? I had loans to pay off. They don't know this about me. I had I had hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of loans at the time. Like, they didn't know that. They're like, oh, he's a New York, he's a millionaire already. Like, he's a New York City neurologist. Like, he's got to have all the money. No one. The only person I needed to engineer in any way possible a Sean versus Richard final, because Richard was so reviled by most of the people, even though I know he won, right? I voted for him, but he's so reviled that the only person I could see myself where all these young teenage kids or whatever would give me any money over any of the other contestants would be Richard, right? That would be on. They wouldn't give me over Sue. They wouldn't give me over Rudy. They wouldn't give me over Kelly. They wouldn't give me over Jenna. Wouldn't give me over Colleen. There was 0% chance I would get $1 million, except I needed to somehow engineer a Sean versus Richard final, which was my goal at the end to get to. And I thought I'd put myself in pretty good position, but that was really the only logistical way that I thought I could win. And I had student loans to pay off. So that was like my real game plan. I was thinking really long and hard out there. I was strategizing. And like I said, like for 15 other contestants out there and you two, it just didn't work out. That's okay.
Yeah.
My
Yeah.
life has been a blessing despite that. And my experience was a blessing despite
Of
all that.
course. No, I mean, honestly, Sean, I don't think it was like a stupid strategy. I think
No.
you literally were the first time, like, it blows my mind to think about going on a show without really having any idea what was going to happen. Did you even
Yeah.
understand the concept of the show? Like, at this
Yeah.
point, or before you went out, like,
you did.
as you're
were-
there?
They give you enough of a rundown for it.
Okay.
Yeah, but you didn't really know what to expect. I mean, I think like you
Yeah.
guys, I think, I mean, I don't know if it got any softer by China. It didn't seem, but at the same time, it's like we had no food. Like I came
Yeah,
back
we
6
didn't.
pounds lighter. I'm very weight conscious. I came back 6 pounds lighter than I weighed in my 8th grade wrestling weight. Like, we had no food, and like
Yeah.
they
Yeah.
think everything's like you snap your fingers and go to commercial break and you're at tribal council. That was like a
Mm-mm.
2-hour march through the jungle at night to get
Yeah.
there, and then you get there and you're waiting 100 degree underneath that canopy in the tropical rainforest. It's like 110 degrees, and then you're waiting like another hour while they're waiting to set up the challenge. Then you're
Yeah.
competing, or then you go to tribal council, and then you're walking home at night by torchlight in the
Yeah.
middle of a jungle with snakes everywhere for another
Yeah.
2 hours to get home. And then it's insane. Like it was insane. We had old people. We had Rudy. We had Sonia on our team. You know, like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
And then we're slipping in the mud, hiking over trees, like still fallen limbs and everything. Snakes everywhere, rats everywhere. And then we swam ashore. The exact times are on the premiere of Survivor. Like we got to the beach, I think 45 minutes before the Pagong tribe did, Tagi did. So we got there a little bit before them, but it was still like the sun's getting ready to go down. We had nothing. We had to sleep on the ground that first night. We had to build a fort, a house the next day, a hut the next day. It took a lot of ingenuity to do it. And like the first day I'm sleeping, I got bit by rats. Like I tell everybody that when I'm talking like a crowd of people, like me and you, we'd be contestants. Everybody else would be rats. Like the place was infested with rats. I got bitten 2 or 3 times on the first night because you're laying on the ground and the rats come up like, whoop, what is this? Is this for me? Like, let me see what this tastes like. Like they were everywhere. And snakes were everywhere. It was like nutty. Yeah, it was nutty. And
We
then
didn't
how
have
was
rats,
how was
but
this
we had
legal?
snakes.
We didn't have
We had lots
rats
of snakes,
and
but no
lots of
rats.
bugs. We had so many
Yeah.
bugs.
Yeah, the
Oh
bugs,
my
because we
Yeah, the
slept on the
bugs were
ground the first
crazy.
night too. Like we were pretty,
Covered.
very, very similar. It took forever to get to any challenge or tribal council,
Yeah.
and you had to do it with your torches. And I don't know about yours, but our torches were heavy.
Mhm.
And
Heavy
so,
torches, and they had oil on them, right? So I remember
yes.
one time there was one like this was risky, like because you're going up and down hills over trees. This doesn't make any book or anything like that, but this honestly happened. We're coming back at night. Rudy slips, doesn't hit the dirt, slips, but he spills a little bit of oil onto Richard's right shoulder. Okay, and that went up in flames, right? It was like, oh, like that, and we all jumped on him and patted it out like that at
Yeah.
that point. But it didn't leave even a burn mark because it's like if you lit your finger with
Yeah.
alcohol and
Yeah.
burns like that.
Yeah.
So I mean, it was fine, but that actually happened. Like that's how dangerous it was. That Rudy slipped like that. Some of the oil went like onto Richard's right shoulder, and we all jumped on top of him and hit it out. Yeah,
Wow.
it was nutty out there. Yeah, but
So I do have a question about next. So like you do the whole thing, you film it all, you get home, and the press begins and it starts for the premiere of Survivor. What was that like? Because this was the biggest thing to happen on TV, basically.
Yeah.
It was huge.
We didn't know it yet, but it
No, we
was.
didn't. Well, I came back and I kind of knew because as I'm coming into the airport, it was like you're on the cover of Time magazine, or you're on the like because they were all talking about like get out of here, like because I'm out there on the beach and I'm watching Richard walk around naked. And at the time, CBS was very much like the Angela Lansbury network, right? Murder She Wrote. That's all anybody was watching. There's nothing. No one was tuning into CBS. Mark Burnett, single-handedly saved CBS and Les Moonves. Okay,
Yeah.
love them,
Yeah.
hate them, whatever. Like without doubt, they saved CBS because CBS was doing nothing. And then this came around. It like revolutionized not only that network, but it revolutionized TV. But
did.
so I was like, I'm out there on the beach and I'm looking at Richard walk around naked. I already like ruined my career. I'm thinking, I'm like, I'm never gonna work again in medicine ever again. I'm gonna come back a laughing stock. Like, who's gonna watch this show? And you think you're doing a lot of non-interesting things out there, right?
Exactly.
You're doing
I
content, it's
totally know what
but
you
who's gonna
mean.
watch this show? Like you're out there, you're starting, like no one's gonna watch this. Like, why would I watch this? I wouldn't. And Sue, she wasn't as naked as often as Richard was, but she was naked a lot out there. So it was a little something for everybody out there. I was like, they can't air any of this stuff. This is CBS News, you know? Like there's no way. They can
Murder
air
She
it.
Wrote. This is Angela
Right.
Lansbury.
Like, there's no way the show's gonna air. It's gonna get canceled after one episode, right? So, and you think it's just life, so you think it's gonna go nowhere, but then you come back, and there's a couple of things struck me that stayed with me after all. So, hold on, I want to shut my door here, just because people keep coming in and out. They is that my cousin Tommy was one of the people to greet me, and he ran for Manhattan DA. Tommy Kenniff, he's my ride or die guy in New York City. A great guy, wonderful guy. But he greeted me. One of the people greeted me at the airport when I came back, and he's a hockey player. He's in good shape, much thinner than I am. And I remember thinking about it. Now I'm coming back. I'm lighter than my 8th grade wrestling weight. And I see him. I was like, oh my God, like I never understood how beefy my cousin was, like how fat he was. And he's thinner than I am, you know? And like the thing is, like, I understood body dysmorphia because I thought I could still lose a little bit of weight. Like I thought I still a little fat to lose right here. I did not feel good about myself. So it really shed light on me, like what people with eating disorders or bulimia or anorexia like go through, because like I felt like I could still lose a little bit of weight, but everyone that saw me, that knew me and loved me, like, bro, you need like a hamburger. You look like you're gonna die. Like it was really bad. So that was very interesting. That, and then to come back and it was like, bro, look at this. You're on the cover of the New York Times. You're in Time magazine. You're in all this cool stuff. Oh, I forgot to tell you. Sorry, there's too many stories. But
No, I love
so
it.
how I knew I was getting on the show, getting back to Leslie's or Todd's question, I forget what it was, but how I was getting on the show before I got on the show. This is after I interviewed in New York, right? I'm still working as a doctor, and I'm walking in the hospital. I was also my pager is going off, and it's going off again and again and again. It's my cousin from Florida calling me to tell me that I'm in Us Weekly magazine. So I'm not on the show yet. And I have a picture of this. I wish I had it on hand. I should have thought ahead. But it's Us Weekly magazine, and it's an article there that all about survivors. So I already sent in all the videotapes and headshots and whatever you need, right? And there's this picture of Mark Burnett like this, looking at a computer. Okay, look at a computer, and all the producers are around behind him. And taped to the side, like it's the size of my pinky fingernail, taped to the side of the computer is the headshot that I sent into them. So I went down, I was like, oh my God, I'm gonna get on this show, I think. Right. So I went down, I cleaned out the little snack bar area, whatever it was in the hospital. I cleaned out all the Us Weekly, about like 10 copies or something, and I was autographing them and handing them out like I was famous at that time. Look, that's me, that's my headshot there. And I'm like,
Here, I'll
seriously,
sign
the
it for
size of
you.
my pinky fingernail taped to the side of an old-timey computer over there, and all the producers are looking at whoever's videotape they're showing there, and they have my headshot, which is an 8x10 headshot, taped to the computer. And I was like, oh my God, this might really happen.
Crazy. That is
Yeah.
crazy.
So
Maybe
that-
they
yeah,
said, let's put the cast around this guy. We like this guy
right.
so much.
And honestly, I have all this stuff. I have all that. Then you come back and
And
like,
this is
everyone's-
before you ever found, like, got the call.
Yeah, that was
the
before
official
you even
call.
knew I was on the show. And
Amazing.
then you come back and like everybody's talking about you, and they give you explicit instructions like you can't talk to anybody, you can't say anything to anybody. And listen, I don't want to say I didn't say anything, because of course you got to say something. You got to interact with people. But I came back. Everyone knew I was on the show. Everyone thought I won because I had the dad visit. You know, my dad came out to visit me out there. So like, why would they fly your dad out to Borneo unless you won the $1 million? So I would say to all my close friends, like, oh, I was out there, lasted a long time, but I didn't win the $1 million. And I'm like, you won the $1 million, you effer. You won the $1 million, didn't you? I didn't believe what he said. No one said, I won the $1 million. Like, they're like, there's no effing way you won the $1 million. Like, no one believed anything you said anyway, so it didn't really matter.
It's true. So it didn't matter. Nobody's
You
gonna
know,
believe
but
you either way.
but yeah, but you come back like you're the talk of like the TV universe was a lot smaller, right? So one of the
Yeah, it
things that I
was.
did in the aftermath of Survivor, you get invited to a lot of premiere parties. I mean, I went to the MTV Video Music Awards when Eminem won for Best New Artist, and Britney Spears ripped off her Oops, I Did It Again, ripped off her thing. I was like 4 rows away from her when that happened. Like, so you get invited to all these parties, and like there was Melissa Etheridge was on her way into who I love. Was on her way into the Grammys, and they asked her about what she was wearing or whatever, and they're like, oh, I got caught up watching Survivor last night. She goes like, my Sean was voted off. Like, and then Haley Joel Osment, I was at the AI premiere. Haley Joel Osment, I was talking to him, the other guy, I See Dead People kid.
Yeah.
He's like, oh, we used to break down the set. Steven Spielberg was there. They used to break down the set of AI, the movie AI, just to watch Survivors, because it was the last broadcast. It was like, it was the first reality TV show.
Yeah.
It was like everyone, it was still appointment television. Like, streaming didn't exist. You couldn't like just like record things. Like, you had to like watch it. Everybody waited for Thursday nights or whatever it was to watch Survivor from 8 to 9 o'clock. Like, everybody was talking about 30 million people per episode. It was like so nutty. And like, you became like people's household conversations. And I think I was telling Leslie earlier that, like, you know, I found out what it was finally like to be like the hot chick in the room. Now, listen, no offense to anyone who's never been a hot chick, but like hot chicks get a lot of attention, right? So you're a hot chick sitting in a restaurant, like everybody's looking at you, everybody, and like
Yeah, it's
all of a sudden,
exhausting. No, I'm
like
just
yeah,
kidding.
I'd be like, you feel like for Brad Pitt or someone like that, that like you can't go anywhere because I'd
Oh,
be
yeah.
sitting there and people like, I think that's the guy.
Mm.
I think no, that's him. As you're sitting there trying to
Yeah.
have your spaghetti. Oh, that's definitely. I hear his New York nasally voice. Oh, that's him. Listen, it's flat. I don't think anybody who was famous would give it up.
Yeah.
Right.
But there are some significant downsides with that. When you come from reality TV, because they actually do know you. You're not an actor. Like they know your
Right.
name.
It's not
They
a
know who you
character.
are. They know what you
Yeah.
do for a living. They know your type of personality. And they actually do know you in some sense. And it was just weird to not have that anonymity. I don't miss it, but it was nice to taste it. So anyone who would say like, "Oh, I don't miss it," being a celebrity, listen. Is there any level of celebrities we were D-list, E-list, F-list celebrities, right? Whatever it was. I don't care what it was, but at least I got behind the velvet rope. I got to know what it was like. I still look back on those days like it was tremendous fun. But yeah, we were super famous for a while. And like people, this is
Yeah.
how bad it was. People in New York City
Super
would be out
famous.
in the spring, like eating, having bacon and eggs on the sidewalk, when New York was, everyone comes outside sooner or later. Right. And then like those bus tours, people get off those bus tours, like, can we get in a picture with you? Do you mind if I have it? Whatever, do it, whatever, get an
Wow.
autograph. I was like, oh my God, while you're in New York City, I hope you find someone who's like really famous. Like, because this piece of paper is worth a lot more without my signature on it. So, but if you want it, I'll do it. But yeah, so it was like crazy times.
That's crazy. And I think
Yeah.
it was like that, I would say, the first 3 seasons.
Yeah. Yeah.
Really
Season 2 was
intense.
even
Really.
more gangbusters.
Yeah,
from what I
you guys
understand, but-
well, you set the stage so well. Like,
Yeah.
oh, we want to see more people in this situation, how
Right,
they would
embarrass
respond.
themselves, yeah.
And they learned from you, which was cool. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? They were
I mean,
able to
yeah,
kind of have
'cause,
a
like-
better strategy going forward.
I auditioned as a student of the game, as someone who like devoured Survivor and watched every episode multiple times. I studied people's gameplay and how it worked and the ins and outs. And like that
Gotta
was
do
my
that.
whole thing. Like it was really
No, that's what
crazy
takes them.
to see.
But listen, Todd, you'd be stupid not to do that because that's what it takes now to win, right? The game has fundamentally changed, right?
Yeah.
Back then, I
Oh, yeah.
was so lucky to be on the first season because I wouldn't do that groundwork. But if you stuck me out there now, because I would still approach your show, China, or even the Star 50 as lackadaisical as because my life's too busy otherwise. Like I don't have the time, energy, or interest to like do all that. But the only way to win is to make these secret alliances and double alliances and get second chance. Like I would not be able to do it, but you can't win unless you are doing that. So like you were smart to do that. For
Yeah.
sure.
I mean,
Yeah.
I was a kid too, though. Like I was
Yeah.
22 when I played. I'm 41 now. Like it's been almost 20
Well, you look
years
young
for
that,
us.
man. Good on you.
Thanks.
Mhm.
But like just the idea of not having anything to go off of, it doesn't work in my brain because I was such a student. So like I love the Borneo. It's just what set the stage
So
for
classic.
something huge. I'm so excited to watch Jenna.
That's
Are
why
you
get
still
asked,
watch?
though. That's why. Yeah.
Do you still watch the show?
I don't, I hate to say this, but I'm forever grateful for it, but I don't really watch the show that much. I fell off around, right around your guys, I guess, right around there. So, I before that was very sporadic, like all things, like a diet, you start
Mhm.
cheating a little bit, whatever. I started cheating with The Bachelor. And then after The Bachelor, it became 90 Day Fiance. So if you want to talk to me about Colty from 90 Day Fiance or Sean Hill or all those people, like, I know.
So are you going to
all
watch
the- I know
Jenna
all the
play more?
nitty-gritty on that? So that's kind of my popcorn for the brain that I use now as opposed to Survivor. But yeah, but it'd be nice to keep up with it, and I certainly appreciate the fans that have, because that's amazing. Like what a legacy those people are, right? Because there's some people that
They're
we all
amazing.
know on the internet who are friends with every single one of us, and they're wonderful people.
They're
But that kind of
amazing.
commitment to anything is really to be admired. Like, and those are the real fans of the show, and it's just amazing. To have that commitment. I don't have that kind of commitment to anything except for my family. Like, it's just really amazing. Yeah.
Yeah. You're watching 50 though, right? You got to see
Yeah, I'm
Jenna.
gonna watch 50. Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know
say
who to
did
root
watch.
for. I kind of want Colby to win. 'Cause I think he's a fan favorite. I want Jenna to win because she's my girl, so I want her to win out there.
Your
But
first
yeah, I'm
Survivor
probably gonna watch
crush.
it. Yeah, yeah. But listen, my kids, like, I try to get them to watch Survivor with me. I try to have them watch my season. I don't know how it is with other kids out there, but they could care less. Like, I'm
My
just
kids
dad to
think it's
them. They
dumb.
don't care about anything that dad's done in the past. Like, they will not watch it. I've tried to get them to watch it, they won't. But I'm hoping the game has changed a little bit. It's a little bit more, for this generation, a little bit more attention grabbing, a little bit more scheming. The new era Survivor is totally different
Yes.
than it was. So maybe my era is a little slow for them. So I'm hoping that, it's good family television. To Survivor's credit, they could have made us all look like a-holes, because at any given moment,
Yeah.
they shoot you for 3 days. I mean, I know this is a little bit different now, but they shoot you for 3 days. And there's going to be, if there's a camera in your face 3 days for every 24 hours a day, 3 days in a row, you can make anybody look like an a-hole. You can make anybody look like an idiot. You can make anybody look like a champ. You can make them look like a genius. And it really just about, do they capture the essence of the person or what they're trying to accentuate? For me, they did. I think they were true to everybody on our
Yeah.
season. I mean, with some,
To ours too, I think, for the
I
most
agree.
part.
they
Yeah.
capture the essence, and they do a
Yeah.
responsible job. Like, I wouldn't
Mhm.
say that about all reality television. I think that the Survivor
Right.
producers are very responsible with the contestants, because they
Yeah.
could make anybody look like a moron or an idiot. And they could ruin lives and ruin careers. I think that's something that people who just jump into reality TV don't realize. You could ruin everything. You could lose everything just to
Mhm.
get a little 15 minutes of fame.
Right. Yeah. And that's the scary part. I'm reading, did you know Stephen Fishbach from Token Teens? He wrote a book and it's called
I didn't know.
Escape. I think it's called Escape.
Oh, yes. No,
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
just
it's
saw
called
that. Yes,
Escape.
I just saw that the
Oh
other
my
day. Yeah.
gosh. I'm listening to it. I am like, the whole time I'm like, Stephen, this is so good. Like, if this isn't a movie, I don't know what I'm going to do. Like, it needs to be a
I
movie.
have a copy, but I haven't read it yet. I haven't.
I mean, it's
I gotta
so
check it out.
good. And it's like this whole new show. And I mean, it talks about, like, from the producer's perspective and from the contestants. So each
Interesting.
chapter is either the producer or, and if you're thinking of going into reality TV, and I highly recommend this book, because then you're going to understand the power that
Yeah.
producers have to make you look a certain way.
Yeah.
And I
And
mean, I'm only on like chapter 13, but woo, so good.
Well, I mean, the internet's forever, right?
Yeah.
And like, at least back in my day, like, that with Survivor, I can understand there's $1 million at stake, right? That changes a lot of people's lives. I know $1 million isn't exactly what it was as it was in 2000, but at the same time, it's still a life-changing amount of money. Whereas
Yeah.
some people do these reality shows for nothing, just for the taste of fame. Then everything you do on there is going to be on there forever, and life is
Forever.
very long. And you're
Yeah.
going to be on these shows forever.
You
And but the
really
good-
just, you
Right.
have to know yourself. If you're going on there to find yourself, it's
Really.
going to be a struggle. If you know who you are and you know how to present and you can go in there and say, I trust myself to represent myself well, I
Yeah.
think you'll be fine. But if you
Yeah.
go in there to go, like, figure out who you are, oh Lord, this is going to be a tough one for you.
Well, but the good news for everybody, if you want to change up your life and do something fun, is that there's never been more venues for you to do it. But
Yeah,
it's also
true.
dilutional, right? Like, there's
Yeah.
like, I see reality TV on Netflix and what I'm like, I didn't even know about this show. Like,
Mhm.
there's so much content out there now that
Yeah.
any idiotic thing you do, may not get recognized. So I don't want to discourage anybody. Like, you can't
No.
ruin your life, but things are so dilutional now, and so
Yeah.
like my kids are like, oh, this is a famous YouTuber, this is a famous singer, this is a famous this person. Everyone's famous, like, to the micro degree. Like, everybody's famous
Right.
and nobody's famous. It's the most
Yeah.
bizarre thing I've ever seen in my life, because when I grew up, everybody knew who Lyle Alzado was. He played for the Raiders. Like, even if you were a football player, because he was on Family Ties, or he was on the Hollywood Squares, or he was on the Love Boat, or he was on like there was this communal culture which doesn't exist anymore. Everyone's so fractured that you're gonna go on there. But anything you do on the online, including this podcast, by the way, is gonna be out there. It's gonna be out
It's there
forever,
forever, Sean.
like,
Everything you
True.
say. No, it's true. And I do think that, I mean, we talked to Courtney about that a little bit from our season. She was on and she talked about the digital, person, that you always have this digital archetype or whatever that's out there forever. Like, everybody who Survivor fans who don't know me personally will forever see me as Sister Christian on Survivor
Yeah.
China. You know what I
No
mean?
matter what.
And they don't realize the evolution that
And
I've
I'm the
had since
alphabet
then.
guy. Yeah,
And you're the
yeah,
alphabet
always,
guy.
yeah.
And yeah,
Well,
Todd's
always
the
given that
schemer.
little stereotype. It's true.
Yeah.
There's so much more though.
We got to find out what you're up to now before we have to go.
First and foremost, I'm a dad. It's the joy of my life. I have 3 great kids. Lilu is my oldest. I'm in love with her name. In love with her. Lilou. It's a French name. Means little Lily. There's only
Aw.
17 Lilus in the United States, and she's one of them. She's a spectacular Lilu. She's great. I married the woman of my dreams, Esther, and she's a Columbia University graduate. Grew up on welfare, graduated Columbia University, summa cum laude. She's brilliant, brainy, and gorgeous. And I have twins. I wanted 3 kids. Esther only wanted 2. So I have boy-girl twins. So I got my way
You
again.
tricked her.
I always do. I got a boy-girl twin, Lola and Logan, and they could not be more fantastic. I am the world's most blessed man, and not a day goes by that I don't recognize that blessing.
Oh,
Yeah. I love my job. So my job, like I work as a neurologist at a very busy level 1 trauma center, comprehensive cancer center, comprehensive epilepsy center. And so we take care of everything you see on TV. I take care of every day: strokes, brain tumors, aneurysms, car accidents, bullets, whatever. So that's but I work 1 week on here in South Florida. So I'm a hospital-based neurologist. I'm all in for a week, and then I'm off for a week. So I'm in a week, then
that's
off a week.
nice.
In a week. Especially if you love what you do. It's called hospitalist type of work. That's the format of it. And if you love what you do, and I do, I get a lot of enjoyment out of it. Then it's like perfect. So I have a perfect work-life balance. It's allowed me to publish books, to be an artist, to do different things. And I just started a new, I invented the jerk at work, Todd, which I'll send you. I just do a
I
lot
have
of
to have one, please.
bunch of different. I'll send it because I got like 200 left. That's all that are in existence before I burn them.
wait, jerk it where we
let's-
haven't talked about this because
Right.
we talked about it before we pushed record.
Yeah.
Tell them what you're talking about, the jerk at work.
Oh,
This is
so
funny.
in 2000, this is another thing that's like, oh, that would only happen to Sean. In 2018, I invented a doll called the Jerk at Work. I was on my way to work. My wife, who usually shoots down ideas, did not shoot this one down, much to her chagrin. But I was like, oh, I'm gonna invent it. I was on my way to work during Christmas. I was like, I feel like I'm the only jerk at work. So I was gonna invent a doll called the Jerk at Work, which was gonna be like the elf on the shelf, but for work. And it's a prank doll that he's upset that he's working during the holidays, so he pulls pranks on his cubicle mate. So whatever. So imagine if you hate Justin Bieber and you come in one day and your cubicle's covered in Justin Bieber wrapping paper, everything's covered, and the jerk at work is sitting there. Then it's your turn, and then you take the jerk at work and you prank somebody else. So you put you make fudge brownies with like laxative. I mean, any prank it's a prank doll. You pass the pranks around.
Fudge brownies with
prank each other,
laxatives.
right? So and it comes out every Christmas. That's the call to action. And then we're gonna have I was gonna have this whole plan. I was gonna have like April Fool's jerks, wedding jerks, bar mitzvah jerks, whatever, jerks for every occasion, right? Jerk doll. And so it took me a year and a half to develop it. I designed the packaging. I sourced factory. I sourced distribution. I had this whole thing set up. We didn't get our prototype till after 2019 holidays. So I wanted to launch in 2019. So I was like, okay, 2020 sounds lucky. It's for work. 2020 sounds great. I'm gonna launch this in 2020, crystal clear 2020 vision rather. I'm going to blast off. And around St. Patrick's Day, it became very clear that this wasn't going to happen. The whole world closed down. Workplaces were shuttered for 2 long years. And so I sat on my inventory and sat on the idea for those 2 years. All this team was taken out. And still, I think like 30% of people work from home or something crazy. Like people still haven't returned to work. So the idea kind of fell apart at that. I get this thing, even so on Shark Tank, I did my very best. I pitched it. It's a great idea. I think it would have worked. I think there would, by this point, I think there would be a float with the Jerk at Work in the Macy's Day Parade on Thanksgiving. Had COVID never happened. It's like people over the Wuhan lab was like, how can I shut Sean down? Let me invent a system to shut Sean's idea down. It's either that or was the elf on the shelf people. But I said I want to know if there's any connection between the elf on the shelf people and the Wuhan lab. But it was a great idea. I worked really hard on it. Todd, I'm really looking forward to getting your thoughts on it as a toy designer. So I wanted to because honestly, I worked so hard on this thing and it's really good. And like I said, it's almost dead in the water. I have a toy agent right now, but my contract is up with her, and I think in a week or 2, so very soon. But still, it's just fun. I just do fun things with my life. And if I can say anything to any of our super fans out there or any of the viewers, have fun with your life. The chances of you being here on Earth, there's only like 400 trillion or something like that possible human beings. The chance of you being here is like so minuscule small. Most of the people that ever get a chance to live are never ever going to live, ever, not in the history of
Wow.
mankind. So like, use it wisely. It's all you got. You know, I was thinking today, depressing. Another 20, I'll be 81 when another 25 years go by. Like, I'll be 81. Like, that's insane
That
to
means
think
I'll
about.
be 81.
So,
I don't want to talk
right.
about
It's,
this.
we'll be 81 together,
Do
Leslie.
you, think?
You know,
Do you
let's
think
hope
we'll
the
be 81
podcast is
doing this
still rolling, you
podcast
know?
in 20 years, Sean? Me and you be
And
like,
Todd's a baby.
Hello,
He'll still
survivor.
be doing this. He'll be
I
doing
wouldn't
this.
say I'm a baby. In 25
Yeah.
years, I'll be what, 66?
Yeah.
66, bro. I'll be 81. It's gonna be no, we'll be 81. It'll be so nutty.
Hey, and listen
So
though,
funny.
at like, if I'm lucky to make it to 66 or 81, then I'm happy. That's what I say. I'm lucky to be alive now, is what I say.
Right,
That's,
yeah.
yes.
I'm just
yes.
glad to
I
be
think
here.
most guys feel the same way. I mean, how many times do you
Yes.
cheat death in your 20s? Like, I mean,
Yeah.
God knows.
Yeah.
Minus Survivor, I cheated death probably 20, 30 times before I got to Survivor Island.
Yes.
And everything after.
What did Survivor teach you about yourself, and how has it changed your life?
Well, a couple of things. Yeah. You know, for me, like it was such a juggernaut. No, I got thrust. Like I was behind the veil. I went to Prince's like 50th birthday party. Like, you know, and I didn't know him. Like what people don't understand, like when you end up and I've met every celebrity. I can't watch TV for 4 minutes without seeing like a major celebrity that I had met, because you once you're on a show like that, what hits that hard, you become one of like the local celebrities in New York, right? You get on a list,
Yeah.
a PR list. So you get invited to all these parties, not because Prince was making his birthday list and he's like,
Yeah.
but because you've hired a PR company, and that PR company has to get celebrities there, and I happen to be on that list. You know what I mean?
Okay.
So like I got into all these parties, like I met all these A-listers, B-listers, whatever. Like it was crazy. Just to see that was just so much fun. And you know, they're ordinary people. Like some of the people were so nice. That there's such good salt of the earth people that it's shocking. Like some of them are so, and some of them are pretty mean or rude or whatever. It was interesting to see that. So it gives you a micro that people are just people. So that was kind of interesting. Even at the highest levels, some of those people were super nice to me.
Yeah.
So that was always surprising to learn. And then also like, you know, fame, like for reality TV players, fame is only good, period, if it comes with a lot of money, right? Because
Right.
like I was a doctor, so I was always going to make a reasonably good salary, despite my medical student loans. I could make enough to live, and people weren't Googling their doctor as much nowadays back then as they are nowadays. Now every patient I see, they Google the doctor, make sure I'm not going to hurt them, make sure I haven't make sure I have 5 stars or whatever, which I do, thank God. But like, you know, I want to make sure I'm a good doctor. But they also find out, oh, Sean known as the alphabet killer from Survivor. You know, then also when I walk in the room, the patient's like, oh, you were on Survivor. How was that? You know, like, well, let's talk about your brain tumor first. So,
Yeah.
so
Priorities.
so
Priorities.
it's very weird.
Yeah.
But fame's only, but some people, like, you became so famous, and I don't know if it's the same now, but back then, like for the first few seasons, probably up through China, you became so famous so quickly, and then you had to go back to your day job. So like if you were just
Yeah.
a waiter at like Applebee's, and then like you still have to pay your bills, you didn't make enough out there for more to live a life of luxury. So chances are you're going back and like, hey, do you want cheese fries or regular fries with that? And everyone in the table was like, I think that's Todd from Survivor. You know what I mean? Like,
It's funny because I
and not
was a
that you just-
server. While it was airing, I worked at Wingers. And so I would be going to my tables and they'd be like, aren't you on Survivor? And I'm like,
isn't that weird? Yeah, is that
it's
weird?
very
So, like,
weird.
yeah, it's such a weird. So you have to go back to your ordinary life, and you were super famous. Like it was just so weird. It was yeah, but you know, it was like you said, it was a blessing. Anyone who says otherwise is, you know, we'll have some sour grapes. I do think that fame for most reality TV players, it always comes with a bitter aftertaste, and that like that, you know, the aftertaste being that it's not going to last, right? That
Right.
that you have it and everything is great, and then all of a sudden you're back to being like an ordinary person, which is also great.
Right.
But at the same time, it's like you kind of, when you're in the throes, you're meeting all these people, you kind of like, oh, I kind of want this to last forever. This is kind of pretty cool. I'm kind of a big deal, you know, that kind of thing. And it doesn't last.
And then the next season airs, and you're like, who are you?
You know
Right,
what? That's what I
exactly.
tell people who are auditioning for the show, because I didn't care and I never wanted to be famous. I wanted to play
Right.
Survivor.
Right.
I didn't expect the attention from it. It's like, hello, there was still 15 million viewers a week back then.
Right.
And so, of course, people were going to stop me in the streets or recognize me. And I wasn't fully ready for it. I was very weird for me. So I tell people who are auditioning, I'm like, you got to be ready because social media, especially, they're going to blow you up and tear you
now
apart.
so you gotta have thick skin. Like I remember this is back in the day, pretty much, and there were bulletin boards and people ripped me a new one for the alphabet strategy on bulletin boards. And you have to like resist the urge to like write back because you got to be above it and everything.
Yeah.
But nowadays with the internet being so vile and and with Twitter and everything, like I'm so glad it happened before for two things. It happened before the internet really was given birth and we had all this social media and stuff. I'm happy it happened before HD television because like I don't want to see this in HD. So
First season was the last season before HD, and I'm so happy.
Wow, thank effing God. But that's it. Everyone, listen, this is the only life you have fun with it. That's what I would say. If you want, like, Survivor to me was a blessing.
Yes.
There's some downs, but I mean, it is all positive. When you look at, you have to make the list of positive and negatives. Yes, there's some negatives, but it was still all positive. 100, close to all positive.
Amazing.
Well, this has been so much fun, Sean. You are amazing, and thanks
for
for spending
having
time
me.
with us. Yeah.
Thank you. Seriously, it's been awesome.
We're fam forever. Okay, I'll see you in 25 years. Todd,
Okay, yeah, 25 years. You promised.
We'll celebrate our 81st birthday together on your pod. Okay, maybe we'll do Survivor again, like Survivor geriatric.
I love it. Oh my God, we need to make an alliance right now, Sean. That would be so
geriatric
fun.
edition. You and I. We'll have our walkers.
We could probably do that now, honestly.
Yeah. It's gonna go by fast. Let me tell you, the time from Survivor. I remember everything about Survivor like it was yesterday. Like everything. I don't have a photographic memory, but I remember everything. And like from Survivor to now, and from now until 81, like that's what it's gonna be. It goes by.
It's a lifetime already.
Yeah.
It's absolutely insane.
Do what you gotta do. So any of the super fans out there, do what you gotta do. Chase your dreams. I do one last thing, which I say to all my residents, because doctors tend to be pretty hardworking people. Like I've worked hard at everything I've ever done, and I always tell them like hard work and putting yourself in the right circumstances. Like, get yourself in the room, make sure you do the hard work, make sure you're doing your homework, and work hard at things. Like if you're chasing, let's say you want to be Ellen DeGeneres. Well, there's a blueprint there. Guess by who? Ellen DeGeneres. She got there. She rang the bell. She had her own show. She was super successful. Is super successful, right? Like someone paved the path for you. Work hard at getting there, because most of the people that want to be Ellen DeGeneres are not willing to work at being Ellen DeGeneres. So work as hard as you can towards that goal. Chase your dreams. You'll be surprised, like, just by chasing my dreams, like magically they seem to happen. Like, so it's like The Alchemist, the book The Alchemist come to life. Like, chase your dreams, like chase them. You'll see things will start unfolding for you if you do that.
Oh, that's so encouraging. You're the best. Sean, thank you so much for your time today.
Thanks for having me. Thank you.
We love you.
The long thing. And let's get a beer one of these days, okay?
Sounds good. Have a good one.
There's a lot more chattiness when I have a beer. Bye, guys.
Oh my gosh, he's so much fun. Love him.
It's fun.
Yes.
Oh, it's fun. Yeah. Honestly, it's just crazy to Borneo, man. Like 15-year-old Todd right now is just kind of in shock because he's pretty much the exact same that I remember, from
I know.
From way back when. Like, he's chatty, he's funny, he's sarcastic, he's witty. He's exactly how I would have imagined him. So that was a lot of fun.
He has like a sense of, what's the word I'm looking for? Like
the YOLO. He's taking YOLO to the extreme.
To the next level. Yeah.
Which is what I always tell people all the time. I say, if you want something, go for it, because it's not just going to like come to you. You have to go and get it. And so I always say this too, try everything that you are like interested in twice, because the first time you might not like it, but you might like it the second time.
Well, and I always tell my kids, I'm like, listen, all you have to do to excel at your job or whatever you're doing is what you're asked to do. Because I think so many people spend so much energy trying to not do things that they should be just doing their job. Just do your job.
Just do your job.
Show up and do your job. And you're already going to like excel way above
Yeah.
So many people. Like it's hard work. I mean, you don't just become a success. I know maybe on YouTube sometimes, or whatever, but like it's just not sustainable.
Well,
What is
and like
sustainable is hard work.
even on YouTube or TikTok or whatever, sure, you can have a viral video, but if you want to
Right.
keep an audience, you have to keep going for it. So it's like
Mhm.
it is a lot of work. Just
Yeah.
like with the podcast or writing books or like even with my pops and stuff, they don't make themselves. So you
You
just
wish
gotta
they
bust
did.
your butt. Push yourself forward is what I say. It's like I work hard, but I play hard. I work for the
Yes.
things that I get to do.
Yeah. Well, guys, now that Survivor 50 is airing and you're getting to see like some of these old school players, I really hope today was fun for you to listen to. It was so fun for me. And
Yeah,
to
no,
hear his perspective and just how green they were when they
yeah.
were put on that island, like to not have any clue what was happening. It was just that was really fun. That was a neat little walk down memory lane. It makes me want to get everybody from season 1 that we can on here.
Yes, absolutely. What I found the most interesting too, though, is like he said he got home from Borneo and they were already
Talking
in
about it.
magazines, which is like, whoa, that's
I
crazy.
know. Yeah. Yeah. That was crazy because they didn't even like announce our cast when we got home. Like it was
Yeah,
still.
we had about 2.5 weeks before they
Mhm.
announced our cast,
Yep. Yep.
which was
Whew.
crazy.
Crazy. Anyway, I hope you had fun today, guys. Make sure that you're sending in your voicemails or emails beyondthetorch@gmail.com. Let us know what you're loving about Survivor 50. What is it who are you pulling for? Do you have any questions for me and Todd? Are there people you want to hear from? Like, let us know. That's why we're here. We're here for you to bring you these amazing stories. So
Yes, absolutely. And thanks for continuing to join and listen. And I've been getting emails like often
mhm.
about how people are finding the podcast and listening and tuning in and they feel like they can just hang out with us, which is really cool because
Yeah,
I don't
that's
have
what we
any kind
want.
of format of like what a podcast should be. I just want people to have fun and feel comfortable, and that's it.
Yeah. And I think that's the key to having a good podcast is not overthinking it. Just go be
Yeah.
yourself and ask questions and enjoy the story. Because really they're the star of the show. We just get to guide them.
Exactly. And I'm loving listening and learning these stories too. Like this is crazy. It's a lot of fun.
So fun. So thanks for being a part of the tribe, guys. We appreciate you.
Yeah.
And we'll see you next time right here on Beyond the Torch.
Bye-bye.
Thanks so much for hanging out with us today on Beyond the Torch. And before we go, I just want to let you know the story doesn't end when the episode does. Todd pours his creativity into Todd's Pop Shop, where he designs custom Funko Pops for fans who love Survivor and pop culture. You can find his work on Instagram at Todd's Pop Shop. And if you're in a season of transition with your faith, identity, or even just life in general, I'm Leslie Neese, a life and faith transition coach, and I offer one-on-one coaching for people learning how to move forward honestly and whole. You can find me at leslieneesecoaching.com. I also host a podcast called Honoring the Journey, where we talk openly about faith perspectives, doubts, questions, and the courage it takes to stay curious. Thank you so much for being a part of our tribe, and thanks for walking this journey with us. We'll see you next time on Beyond the Torch.